Who dat to the Who Dat Nation? Welcome to the Dome Patrol Podcast, your podcast for the New Orleans Saints. I am your host, Kevin Reed, and we have went final in Indy as the New Orleans Saints defeat the Colts by the score of 38-27, putting the New Orleans Saints at a record of 4-4. It's something about 4-4 when it comes to the Colts and the Saints. Saints, on their 44th year of existence, went to the 44th Super Bowl and defeated the Colts, and now the Saints have a record of 4-4 thanks to beating the Colts today. I know I'm reaching, but it's just funny. I found that funny. But yes, the Saints are at 500 now. The Colts dropped now to 3-5 on the season after putting up a valid effort. This was a team that I was worried about because just look, last week the Colts took on the Browns, and the Browns have the number one defense in the league, stifling defense over there in Cleveland. Colts put up 38 points on those people. It didn't stop them from scoring, and that's with Myles Garrett going berserk on them, but they still managed to put up 38 points. And that's what I was kind of worried about going into this game against our defense. Even though our defense is top 5, we're 4th in the league defensively. I was worried that this team was going to get loose on us, and they still put up decent points, 27 points. That's the second most the Saints have allowed this year thus far. But man, I think this was a real testament to the team and responding to all of the backlash that has been going on. I would say in the past week, since that Jacksonville Jaguars loss, where it was kind of embarrassing. It was pretty embarrassing, to say the least. But a lot of questions. I think a lot of jobs were on the line. Derek Carr's, Dennis Allen's, Pete Carmichael's. They were coaching and playing for their jobs because of the off-season promises that this team kind of laid out there for the Who Dat Nation. That we got the pieces. We got what we need to make actual run in the playoffs, to actually become a championship quality team. And it's 7 weeks into this season, we haven't seen it. We haven't seen it come together. Well, this week, even though I'm still not off of the anger train, I need to see this consistently. That's the problem I have. I need to see consistent good play from this team. And we haven't seen back-to-back consistent good outings from this team in a while. So now we can put this together and do it again next week. Okay, I'll start to feel a little better. But as of right now, I'm just happy with this victory. I think this was probably the Saints' best performance of the year thus far. All around. I'm talking offense, defense, specialty. Everybody came together this week. It put forth a very, very good game and a very good game plan, and it was executed perfectly. This is a tough team, the Colts. Don't let the smooth taste fool you here. You look at the Colts; they're 3-4, but so were we. But the Colts are a good team. I mentioned earlier. They put up points. Their scoring offense, I think, is top 5. I had the stats, and I don't have it in front of me now. But they are a real good scoring offense, and they showed flashes of it early on. The Saints defense was in trouble a lot, but overall they came together. They made adjustments. They actually made adjustments and put a stop to this Colts offense. Now, part of that, I will say, I'm going to be completely upfront and honest. That's why I do this show, and that's hopefully why you listen to this show. the Colts went away from what was working from them. It wasn't necessarily the Saints stopping. It was the Colts stopping themselves, and that was the run game. Uh, Jonathan Taylor was in that first half looked like he was about to have a monster game, and all of a sudden they went away from it. They just flat out went away from it, and I think that's what turned the tide. Now, don't get me wrong, when they did try to run the ball in the second half, Saints were on. They were on it. They did make adjustments there, but by that point, the game kind of got away from the Colts. The Colts jumped on us early, and I was kind of shaking over here, worried about that. But overall, I would say, good job adjusting offensively. Man, Derek Carr probably had his most sharp game as a New Orleans Saint. He looked real good today. Looked like he was on the same page with everybody, with the exception of Chris Olave a little early. Well, I'll address that now. I don't know what it is with those two. I just don't know what it is. They cannot get on the same page. Chris Olave had a walk-in touchdown, and he missed it. You come right back the next play, he go back to Olave, who was wide open again, and Derek Carr missed him. It's like, my God, y'all just can't get it together. I don't know what it is with those two. Despite that, Olave did turn around. He did have a decent game, but the day belonged to Rashid Shaheed. Oh my God, what a day! What a day he had. Alvin Kamara had a wonderful day. All our running backs, all three of them were just going bananas out there in Lucas Oil Stadium, man. I mean, real hard running from Jamal Williams. Kamara, he looked like the old Kamara. I mean, everybody just looked on point today. And so the New Orleans Saints offense erupted with 5 touchdowns as the Saints defeat the Indianapolis Colts by the score of 38-27 this Sunday in Lucas Oil Stadium. The win ends a 2-game losing streak, improving the Saints to a record of 4-4, and it moves them into a tie for first place in the NFC South. Yes, people, we are tied for first now because the Atlanta Falcons lose today to the Tennessee Titans, and the Bucks lost Thursday night, so we moved into a 3-way tie there. And oddly enough, just to round off the NFC South, the Carolina Panthers got their first win today. Now they're in no danger. We're in no danger of losing our position in the South, with them. But actually, no. When you think about it, because they still only 2 games out with one win. Oh boy, NFC South people, unbelievable. Today the stars were, of course, running back Alvin Kamara. He had a touchdown receiving and rushing. Taysom Hill. Taysom Hill had 2 rushing touchdowns today. And receiver Rashid Shaheed, he had a 58-yard touchdown reception as well. This was the longest play for the Saints this season. Quarterback Derek Carr was sharp, going 19 for 27, 310 yards and 2 touchdowns. He helped ice the game with another deep ball to Shaheed, as the second-year player finished with, check this out, people, 3 catches. He only had 3 catches. Yeah, they pretty much tied him up today, you would think, huh, if I was stopped there. But unfortunately, I got to keep going. 3 catches for 153 yards and a touchdown. Boy, he went off today. Kicker Blake Groupie added a 27-yard field goal with 24 seconds left to play. The Saints had a grand total on offense, 511 yards of offense. That is bananas to me. I thought it was going to be tighter than this. I really did. I didn't think we was going to get into a quasi shootout with the Colts. I really didn't. I knew there was going to be some scoring, but I didn't think it was going to be, 60 points between the two teams. And this was just wow. Um, Unbelievable. Defensively, like I said, we had our troubles, but we still had some good moments throughout the game where we were able to end drive, stop the drive, and even get turnovers. Cornerback Paulson Adebo, he made a key third quarter interception. That ended a drive that I thought the Colts were going to go score on. I'm not even going to front. I thought they were going to really punch that ball in and take the lead at that point, I believe, because all the momentum felt like it was shifting towards the Colts at that moment. They were moving the ball pretty well, and it just looked scary at that moment, and we needed that turnover right on time. And I was saying throughout the game, I was looking at Garner Minshew. Garner Minshew kept going at Paulson Adebo, and I told my cuz at halftime, and I'm like, bruh, he keep going at Paulson Adebo. He gonna regret it sooner or later. He's gonna regret it. And sure enough, that's what happened. Paulson Adebo was looking real good today. Alvin Kamara, speaking of milestones, with the 3 catches from Shadeed going over 150 yards, Alvin Kamara, he moved past 10,000 all-purpose yards and 4,000 receiving yards today. Kamara had 19 carries for 59 yards, 4 receptions for 51 yards. Taysom Hill was his usual all-purpose, all-football player self today. He carried the ball 9 times for 63 yards and 2 touchdowns, catching one pass, should I say, for 14 yards and completing one pass for 44 yards. Wide receiver can't guard Michael Thomas. He had 4 catches for 68 yards. Another milestone today, linebacker Demario Davis. He recorded his 600th career sack, and defensive end Cam Jordan played in his 200th game as a professional. He also got a half a sack today with Carl Granderson. Defensive tackle Nathan Shepard also got a sack as well. Next week, the Saints will be back at home to host the Chicago Bears in the Caesars Superdome. As for today, going over our box scores, let's look at our leaders, or at least all of our numbers today. Let's start with passing for the New Orleans Saints. Derek Carr, he was 19 of 27 for 310 yards and 2 touchdowns. He had a quarterback rating of 133.3. Garner Minshew, well, before I get to Garner Minshew, Taysom Hill, he was 1 of 2 for 44 yards. He had that 144-yard pass to Shadeed. And Garner Minshew for the Colts, he was 23 of 41, 213 yards, 2 touchdowns, and 1 interception. He had a quarterback rating of 76.6. Rushing, our leading rusher today for the New Orleans Saints was Taysom Hill. He has 9 carries for 63 yards and 2 touchdowns. Alvin Kamara, 17 carries for 59 yards and 1 touchdown. Jamal Williams, 6 carries for 30 yards. Kendrick Miller, 3 carries for 10 yards. And Derek Carr had 1 carry for -1 yard. That was a kneel down. For the Colts, you had Jonathan Taylor, 12 carries for 95 yards. Zach Moss had 11 carries for 66 yards and a touchdown. Garner Minshew had 1 carry for 3 yards. Today's leading receiver for the Saints, of course, was Shadeed. 3 catches for 153 yards and a touchdown. Michael Thomas, 4 catches for 68 yards. Alvin Kamara, 4 catches for 51 yards. Chris Olave, 5 catches for 46 yards. Taysom Hill, 1 catch for 14 yards. Kendrick Miller, 1 catch for 9 yards. Jamal Williams, 1 catch for 8 yards. Juwan Johnson, 1 catch for 5 yards. Welcome back, Juwan. And for the Colts, Josh Downs had 7 catches for 72 yards. Alec Pierce had 3 catches for 41 yards. Michael Pittman Jr. had 8 catches for 40 yards and a touchdown. Drew Autry had 1 catch for 33 yards and a touchdown. Mo Alley Cox had one catch for 11 yards. Zach Moss had one catch for 8 yards. Jonathan Taylor had one catch for 2 yards. Our leading tackler today for the New Orleans Saints was Mr. 600 tackle for a career himself, Demario Davis. He had a grand total of 12 tackles today. Marshawn Lattimore had 9. Jordan Howden had 8. Carl Grandison had 6. For the Colts, their leading tackler was Franklin. He had 14 total tackles. Shaq Leonard had 11 tackles. Kenny Moore, the second, had 7. Saints had 2 sacks today. Nate Shepard had a sack, and they gave the sack to Carl Grandison, but actually it was more of a half a sack. He got a half, and Cam Jordan had a half, and so that's how it come up to 2. But they gave it all to Carl Grandison, which is fine. The Colts had 2 sacks as well. No, I'm sorry. The Colts had 1 sack today, and that came from DeForest Buckner. And I thought he was going to do much more than that, to be honest with you. But they did a good job up front against Mr. Buckner. Team statistics. Let's start with the first downs. New Orleans Saints had 24 first downs today, 12 by passing, 10 by rushing, and 2 by penalty. For the Colts, they had 19 first downs, 10 by passing, 6 by rushing, and 3 by penalty. On third down efficiency, Saints were 50% today. That's better. Not great, but it's better than what they have been. They were 6 for 12. The Colts were 7 for 16. On fourth down, Saints never went for it on fourth, whereas the Colts went for it. They were 100%. They went for it once and got it once. Total plays, Saints, they ran 66 plays to the Colts 67 plays. Total yards, Saints had 511 total yards today to the Colts 371. Total drives, they were dead even. Both teams had 12 drives apiece. Yards per play, Saints 7.7 to the Colts 5.5. Passing, Saints had 350 yards passing to the Colts 207. Passing yards per play, Saints 11.7 passing yards per play to the Colts 4.8. That is excellent. Rushing yardage, Saints had 161 total yards rushing to the Colts 164. That is kind of foreign for this Saints defense to give up that many rushing yards. That was it was something else, man. They just went away from it. Colts went away from what was working for them. I'm glad that they did, but that was a head scratcher to me, especially when you look at the yards per rush. Saints had 4.5 yards per rush, which was great. That is exactly what you want running the ball. 4.5 yards rushing. But the Colts were 6.8 per rush. Why they didn't run the ball more, I have no idea. But thank you, Colts. In the red zone. Oh, speaking of foreign, Saints were 3 of 4 in the red zone, and that the only one they didn't score in was the final when they were milking the clock at the end. You know, they weren't trying to score there. So great job there. Mass improvement in the red zone today. The Colts were 2 of 3. Penalties today, a little ugly. It's not as bad as it was, but it's still bad. They had 8 penalties for 73 yards. Colts, 6 penalties for 30 yards. We both had a turnover apiece. And time of possession, it was almost dead even time of possession. Saints had the ball for 30 minutes and 9 seconds to the Colts 29 minutes and 51 seconds. Like I said, this was pretty much an evenly matched team. The record said as much. Both teams are struggling in areas that, they typically don't struggle in. And both teams have lost games by 1 possession every now and then. So it's been kind of tight between these two franchises. But Today, the Saints come out the victors. Let's go over our grades today. And in case this is your first time listening to the Dome Patrol podcast, and welcome if it is, we grade every unit of the Saints: offense, defense, special teams, and the coaching. And we average them out and come up with an overall grade for the Saints' performance today. Starting with our offense, today, Saints offense gets an A minus. I thought that this was a well executed game today, balanced on running and throwing the ball. It was, other than the turnover, which was a fumble, they were pretty clean, pretty cerebral with their attack, with their plan. Derek Carr, like I said earlier, this is probably his best performance as a New Orleans Saint. He just managed the game. I didn't need him to make giant plays every drive. You know, when the play was there, when it was time to take the shot, he took the shot. You know, but you take what the defense give you, and he did that today. We ran the ball efficiently. Receivers, they caught the ball for the most part. You know who I'm talking about. And it was just good execution. Oh, and that offensive line has been holding strong. You remember the first couple of weeks of the season, that was the worst thing on this team. It has flipped and became the best unit on this team. Only giving up one sack, and that was the sack fumble. And that, you could make an argument, Derek Carr was holding the ball long. And so it wasn't on the offensive line. And so this offensive line, I mean, great job by Doug Marrone, our offensive line coach, by getting this thing together, by switching up some positions, moving some players here and there to get the right combination going. Great job. Offense gets an A minus. Defense gets a B minus. Defense gave up a lot on the ground. They gave up a lot on the ground, even through the air at times. It was a struggle. But like I said before, this is a good offensive team. They did that to the best defense in the league last week. And, if you want to compare apples to oranges or whatever, the Saints did a better job at the end of the day. They did keep them out of the end zone when they needed to. They made stops when they needed to. They got turnovers when they needed to. But it was just on the ground. It was on the ground. And as I was hitting to earlier, well, I didn't hit to it. I just said flat out, Colts went away from the run. If they wouldn't have went away from the run, I think they could have got control of this game and got back in it and probably took the lead. Probably not only took it, but maintained the lead. I was shocked when they put the ball in Garner Minshew's hands in that second half. It blew my mind. It reminded me of Super Bowl 44. If you remember, in that first half of the Super Bowl, who was it? Joseph Adai, that was their running back. He was gashing the Saints defense in that first half. Come out after halftime. Yeah, we had to start the half, but they went away from it, man. They put the ball in Peyton Manning's hand, which theoretically isn't a bad idea, but they should have stuck with what was working for them. But I'm glad that they didn't, just like I'm glad that they didn't today. The defense gets a B minus. Special teams gets an A. Special teams, good job. Even our rookie punter, he had some decent punts today. I'm got to give the devil his due. It had some decent punts out there today. Blake Groupie, he wasn't called upon a lot. I think he won. Yeah, actually won, and that was at the end of the game. And that was a good kick. He made all his extra points, so kudos. Kudos to him for that. Yes, special teams gets an A. Coaching, y'all ready for this? Gets an A minus. I wanted to give it a plus, but I felt I was going a little too far. I felt better with the minus. And so they get an A minus. And namely, Pete Carmichael. Pete Carmichael called a perfect game. I don't care what nobody else say. I don't care what other podcast you listen to, whatever show you watch or radio show, whatever. Whatever they say, that's their opinion. My opinion, he called a perfect game today. This was a great game plan. It was a balanced offense. It was some real schemes there. They were scheming to get people open, something that I haven't seen in this offense in 7 weeks. You know, this was a different, they looked comfortable and they looked like they were on the same page. And I got to give it to Pete Carmichael, you know. Now, next week when he call a bad one, I'm going to call him out for that too. But for today, excellent job. Dennis Allen, the defense, they struggled. That's why I was kind of iffy with the A, but you know, all that isn't on him. He's not out there with pads and a helmet on, so I can't put that on him. It was more or less execution, but when they needed to make adjustments, they made adjustments, and I'm proud of them for doing that because once again, this is something that the Saints are allergic to, making adjustments, but they did, and coaching staff did an awesome job with that. They get an A. Overall, as a team, after we average out all of our grades today, the New Orleans Saints performance today gets an A-. Great job. This is their best game of the season. Not that 34-0. Throw that out. That was a give me. I'm not that wasn't against a good team. Colts are a good team. I'm not saying they're a playoff team or nothing like that, but they're a good team. And for you to go in there on the road and put up this type of performance, A-. Okay, let's go to our who gets the game ball and who has to sit in the corner. Now, this portion of the show, as you know, I give my little MVP of the game. That's who gets the game ball. And whoever sits in the corner is somebody who just did a horrible job today, either cost the team the game or could have cost the team the game and just put up a poor performance. Today's game ball, we're going to cut the game ball in half because there's two people who gets the game ball today. Start off first with Rashid Shaheed, who put up an epic performance with the 3 catches for 153 yards and a touchdown. I think he did. This was probably one of the best wide receiver performances we had in a while. I mean, as far as averaging, if you average that out, what's that? 51 yards a catch or something like that. I mean, it was ridiculous. You dig? That one he caught that they had ruled interception, but they reversed it because he had possession with his knees down on the ground. The cornerback just ripped it out of his hands while they were going to the ground. But that was that was a nice catch. A nice catch. To have both hands on the ball and maintain possession until they rolled over, until the corner had leverage and yanked it out of his hand. So that was understandable. Even then, he still had the ball in his hand. So I didn't understand the call on the field anyway, but whatever. They got it right. This dude had an epic game today, and it deserves to go to one person, but I can't not give him his flowers today. So I'll give him runner up. I'm not going to split it in half, but I'll give him runner up today because it's not fair. You can't cut the ball in half. So I'm gonna do what I'm supposed to do and give it to the one person who deserves it. But Shaheed he deserved to have a mention nonetheless today. But who really deserves the ball today and who is getting the ball today is, of course, Inspector Gadget himself, Taysom Hill. Taysom Hill, this was his game. This was a Taysom Hill game today. He ran the ball effectively. He even threw that 44-yard not touchdown, but that pass to Shaheed. He caught a crucial 14-yard pass late in the game from Derek Carr. He was just all around beast mode today. Taysom Hill I think it's time to just come out and say he is the playmaker on this team. We are a team spoiled with playmakers. You know, Alvin Kamara, Malcolm Thomas, Olave, Shadeed. We have a plethora of game-changing players. But Taysom Hill is that one player. It doesn't matter where he is on the field. He makes a difference. I don't care if he's the quarterback, if he's the running back, if he's the tight end, if he's on special teams. It doesn't matter. He makes the plays. And, this isn't a shock to me. My only thing with it, and I hate to keep going back to this, my only thing with it, I don't want him to be my starting quarterback. Because if he's your starting quarterback, you don't get all those plays that you got. You know what I'm saying? So this is where I need him, right where he's at, how he's being used right now. And we need to do this every game. Don't just stop here. Don't just use him a little bit next week or, one or two plays. No. Let's ride this horse until he just kills over. This dude is the playmaker. He is the difference maker on our team, and he definitely made the difference today. Once again, the New Orleans Saints come out victorious today, defeating the Indianapolis Colts by the score of 38-27, bringing our record to 4-4 on the season thus far, putting us in a three-way tie for first place in the division. Oh boy, we needed this win, man. We needed this. This was going to be depressing if the Saints would have lost 3 in a row. And this division, which is tanking around you. I mean, I can't express how bad this division is, and we can't take advantage of it. Saints should be, and we should be in firm control of this division right now, and we're not. But look, like I said, that's why it was so hard to just give up the ghost with this team, because this division is not going to allow us to give it up. No matter how bad we play or how many games we lose, we still going to be in it because this division is weak. And so I'm hoping and praying that we can bottle this up, this performance, this camaraderie with one another. One of the things that was noted during the game, how Derek Carr this past week got together with the team. He talked to the teams more, his teammates more and stuff like that, and to get on the same page. My problem with that is, why did it take you 8 weeks to do this? Why it took so long to get to that? You should have been on it, talking to him every day. I don't understand that, but hey, I guess better late than never. But in any event, good victory. Real impressed with this performance, but I'm still not over the moon excited. I need them to do this consistently. Let's get on this win streak here. If they can put 3 games together back to back like this, then I'm back in, because Dennis Allen did something that I didn't expect him to do, and that's turn this train around, put out this fire that was raging out of control. I'm not going to do that with one game. So, I'm happy with the victory. I'm going to take this and run, but I need to see this more consistently throughout the year. I would like to know, are you super excited here? Do you think that I shouldn't feel that way, that we're back, that we done clicked, we done found the missing pieces, and we are rolling on now? Or, once again, are you checked out still? I would like to know. Email the show, kbradiopodcast@gmail.com. You can also look me up on all social media platforms. Just search for the KB Radio Network. Also, don't forget about the KB Radio Network channel over on YouTube. Subscribe to the channel and like this video if you don't mind. Also, everybody, don't forget about the 5 stars, the reviews, and sharing this show. If you are listening on Apple Podcasts, Spotify, iHeartRadio, wherever you are currently listening to the Dome Patrol, here on the KB Radio Network. Everybody, I will be talking to you next week as we preview the upcoming matchup between the New Orleans Saints and the Chicago Bears in the Superdome next Sunday at 12. Can't wait to speak to you then. And until then, I'm going to be screaming at the top of my lungs, who that?